Hello, this is Instant Funding. My name is Tommy. In this interview series, we invite traders to share their story, their trading secrets, and advice to beginners.
Today we have with us Tomas from Czech Republic. He joined us not so long ago. He's already generated a profit of almost $600. He trades commodities like gold and oil, trades some forex pairs like pound and yen. He typically scalps on gold USD with a medium hold time on other investments. He has had one account, 5K, instant funding 5K, and scaled that to 10K. His largest trade was $342, and he has a win rate of 65.7%. How are you? How are you, Thomas?
Yeah, I actually bought a second 10K just to support that other one to sort of diversify the accounts. So yeah, that's a new thing. And I've actually managed to hit the smart drawdown thing. So it has been scaled up again. So currently we're sitting at, I realized, I think, $1,100.
Wow, yeah, so that's grown. That's awesome. Tomas really knows what he's doing. He works in the field. Why don't you tell us a bit about yourself and your background?
I essentially run on trader retention, mainly the retail sector for one European brokerage. We basically teach people how to manage their funds and how to manage risk most appropriately. And if you know, when you open or when you try to open a brokerage account, you have a little CFD warning, the loss rate of that brokerage. Um, that, as far as I know, we have the lowest. It's actually a majority of our clients are in profit, but I am under an NDA to not disclose the name, so I won't be telling you.
What attracted you to instant funding?
Probably the name, instant funding. I actually just hate doing challenges because I know I'm profitable, but I'd never create a small account and make money from that, even though I have to pay like a bigger fee for the account than having to do a challenge with minimal trading days, maximum trading days. And also, I find the drawdown options quite attractive since instant funding on the smart accounts has really big drawdowns, and on the instant ones, they don't run into your daily, which helps a lot. I actually do use quite a bit of margin on my trades. So the not monitoring of the daily drawdown is essential because that allows you to essentially risk 1 or 2% per trade instead of I don't know, half a percent, which would be topped on like an FTMO account.
And what trading strategies do you mainly use? What's your approach?
I mean, honestly, it is a sort of combination. We all know the basic stuff that there's support, resistance, your spend lines, moving averages. We all know that. But once you start getting into other strategies, you start to realize that it's way deeper than you actually think it is. Since the market really is, in its simplest form, just buyers and sellers and trying to predict where they are. Therefore, the concepts that are based on liquidity are the most correct ones. Of course, the fundamentals are the hardest thing to beat. If there's geopolitical tensions and bombs dropping in the Middle East, gold is just going up because there's geopolitical risk and it's a safe haven asset, sort of like a house is, and that pushes the price of gold up. But on the short time frames and without news, um, basically what the trend line is showing you is the line of buyers, and once um, you drop below that fair price, it is going to continue down more. That's also what essentially order blocks are. Some people really think that a support line is just a line. It's more of like a block. And it is like a block of buyers that are trying to push the price
And what
up.
do you think about general like market manipulation? So because you expect something to happen, but obviously there's big players that like 80 or 90% define what's happening, right?
Yeah, essentially, that's mostly central banks and the hedge funds if we're talking foreigns and stocks. Central banks more in the forex space, which are probably gonna see an intervention on the yen, since it is at a point it could just start running away from us. And obviously, the Bank of Japan just does not want to see its economy run away, so they are forced to intervene. But yeah, market manipulation also just uses liquidity. That's what essentially liquidity sweeps and liquidity grabs are. It is just trying to stop out the retail investors and use them as the liquidity. That's that is sort of where the ICT strategy comes from.
So because you trade kind of more traditional like commodities and forex, you're
Yeah,
aware of the situation, you're aware of the fundamentals and what's happening, so you can predict more easily what's going to happen, right? And what kind of if there's going to be a big change, big price change, big volatility.
yeah. So
Would you say
yeah,
so?
what brings volatility is the news. Of course, you have the scheduled news like inflation, GDP. Uh, well, there's multiple ways to like measure inflation, but the most essential one is CPI or and Fed chairman speech or ECB speech. That's what you can expect, but you also have to stay just really sharp and on top of the news with trading because, well, we all know it. Stuff happens.
Yeah, and also price tends to change for some stable.
I mean, things like Ukraine, things like the Israel-Palestine conflict. I'm not really on either side. I don't really care about politics. But what it brings is geopolitical risk. And once you get fear in the market, you get inflows into saving and assets.
That's a cool insight.
And yeah, that's what brings the price up. Because if someone wants to buy something and there continues to be buyers, uh, the price is just gonna keep going up because someone's gonna keep selling it higher and higher.
And how do you decide what trades to enter? Like how do you know it's the right time?
Now, essentially, um, what I find is that the candle closes, mainly the 15 minute, the 1 hour, and the 4 hours, are turning points. Once you get that, that is a potential turning point for the instrument. If you're essentially approaching a recent top, that could be the reversal, could be the continuation. That's why you're looking for other clues. Things like MACD crossovers, really high RSI, really low RSI. Um, RSI which is turning over. So, for example, like 20, it turns around, goes back to 30, and the price seems to be reversing on one of those pivot points. That is essentially when I would go in.
And what is RSI for those just beginning?
RSI is the relative strength index. It's basically a measure of how overbought or oversold the market is. Or those are the two conditions you're looking for. Those are the potential turning points. But RSI just indicates how many buyers and sellers are there in the market and what is the balance between them.
What kind of instruments do you use? Like platforms for checking the graph,
Uh,
trading view.
Yeah, trading. That is absolutely essential. Having a trading view, I would not be able to trade without that. Trading view and C trader. Because I'm, I mean, MetaTrader is a great platform. Um, it works pretty well, but it just is so old. MetaTrader 5 is like 14 years old and it shows. There's not that many features. You can't it's really like, I don't know how to say, crowded? Not crowded, but like messy. And MetaTrader can be really scary for guys just beginning because uh, it is just a bunch of really old chaos. And I feel like CTrader is way better. I like the interactive brokers platform, but you ain't gonna be trading cards
Yeah.
on that. And I've heard of Ninja Trader. That looks really nice. And I've heard of DX Trade, which
Yeah.
I know we offer. We as instant funding offer, but I don't have the experience with it.
And how do you continue to improve your skills? Like, do you use some kind of resources to learn from? And where did you first learn from? What was your main? What were your main influences, like books and courses and stuff?
Actually, you might find it funny, but it was Investopedia.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Investopedia is awesome. They have stuff on everything, and it's entirely free. And that's essentially where you get the theory from. But we all know it. Practice makes perfect. So first I started demo accounts, and then I basically started trading challenges. But that's if we're talking for it. If we're talking stocks, I essentially learned that at work because I started in sales and then moved here. I essentially picked the knowledge up along the way. But if I were to say, where do you learn? I think the Discord servers of prop firms are like a great place. We have one, and there's a Trade Talks channel, and the people are quite funnily enough really nice there, and some of them are really insightful. I, I for myself actually help out the beginners there because I want to see you guys succeed. A lot of people don't want to see you succeed. But trust me, I do.
How would you explain risk management in a simple way? What are some main principles that you would teach people just starting out?
Uh, well, with risk management, you really gotta know your strategy because the strategy determines where you can put it, or where you can put the safety, I don't know, safety breakers probably is what I would call stop loss and take profits. They're essentially limits because the strategy determines the turning points of where it shouldn't go below. And essentially, once you set the stop loss, don't move it. If you're not moving it up, don't move it down. It is a thing I struggled with in the past. Was I essentially kept moving the stop loss down and continually losing thanks to it. And that really, especially in prop trading, is going to kill your account. Is moving the stop loss lower and lower and lower and lower, and then you're blown. Uh,
Yeah.
once
So
you once you get enough profit, sure, bring it to break even or bring it to uh, like a weaker support, if you will. But for the love of God, don't move it down.
yeah, so it would just close a
It
position,
is
right?
essentially what it is. You can't win 100% of the trades, but you can manage how much you win
Yeah.
and how much you lose. That's where the risk reward ratio comes in. Essentially, what I try to trade is at least a 2 to 1, since when you're at 2 to 1 risk reward ratio, um, you really only have to make 50% win rate, and you're going to be making bang. Essentially, the turning point where you make profits is 1.1 risk return and a 51% win rate. You're making profits, really turning profit, but you are. If you're consistent with it, that is the minimum you need to achieve.
And you said you typically use scalping on gold, right? How does that work for you? And why do you like it?
I really like gold because gold just has a tendency, or more like had a tendency to go into really, really wide ranges, even on the lower time frames. And I just found it so much fun to just write up and down, and make bank with that. So that essentially is one of the strategies. But they're the same. If you can trade gold, you can trade anything, because gold is a great instrument once you understand it. But if you don't, it is gonna hurt you.
Yeah, it's interesting because people would expect it to be more predictable and more stable, but it's actually moving quite a lot on the intraday, right?
Yeah, especially in like the last year with all the geopolitical tension we have here, and the demand with EVs, with AI, gold is experiencing a really, really, really strong bull market. So essentially, we're out there making all-time highs, and the gold is just moving by 1% per day. Compare that to well, savings, because that's what most people actually replace their savings account with, is gold. If they don't trust the bank, or they want something a bit more safer, um, gold is usually their go-to. And a savings account makes anywhere from 2.5 or 2% to about 8%
Yeah.
per year or per annum. Silver is even more volatile, but I don't trade silver. They sort of move together with gold, but it's just more violent on silver, and the spreads on silver are really, really, really bad with most brokers. So if it doesn't go your way, silver is gonna hurt more than gold, because gold trades in really tiny tips, and silver just trades in 2 decimal points. Gold is really, really high fidelity. Silver
Yeah, that
is
makes
really,
sense.
really low fidelity. Also, there's just not as many buyers and sellers to have the spreads be as tight as gold. I mean, I can open it and I can see the spread is 42 ticks, which is considering gold essentially trades in 3 decimal places. It is incredible. Or what most people would think is 1 tit. But a tit is
Yeah.
essentially the smallest decimal point something trades in.
What advice could you give to other traders working towards their first?
Yeah, essentially, I think what it is if you did the challenge and you pass, you might have an issue with actually getting paid out, because it hits you that you actually can get paid out with it, and that messes with your head so much that you actually might blow it. So essentially, do whatever you were doing while you pass the challenge, and you should be fine. Don't panic. Keep a level head, and just wait until it comes.
And this brings me to a thing I wanted to ask you about all along: emotion. How to deal with emotion, how to deal with some tough times, and how to overcome obstacles and challenges that in trading itself.
People have different ways of dealing with their emotions, so that is really individual. But the first thing I do is probably get away from the charts. If you start losing your mind from trading, just losing your cool, close it. The market is going to be there tomorrow. The account might not if you continue. You have to keep a level head, but you always get a tiny bit emotional, since
Yeah.
there's money involved. Always, when there is money involved, you get emotional, but you sort of not have to not let it overcome you. Keeping a level head is essentially the biggest challenge in trading, because there's tons of strategies that work. Some are more profitable, some are less. Most actually are, because for some reason, if you do something right enough, it is going to
Right.
make you money in some way on the market. even like
Yeah.
reverse Nancy Pelosi strategies that you see on Wall Street bets. Uh, those sometimes work, but essentially you have to find a strategy that works for you, and you have to find a way to relieve stress and think about other stuff in trading. Working out works for some. Making music works for some. For example, me. Um, I don't know, go for a walk your dog, pet your dog. I don't know, go for a game, for example.
Yeah.
Whatever works to relieve the pressure off of you, do that instead of overtrading. Because
And then you start to
once you
panic,
get
and then it's
tired, you
a
get
vicious cycle.
sloppy,
Yeah.
and once you get sloppy, you start
Yeah.
losing money in the market.
So, any future plans in trading? What is there anything you'd like to explore in
In
the
the
near
near
future?
future, I would like to get a lot more equity since I moved on to smaller accounts since I actually did have problems with emotions and I don't mind blowing a 10K account as much as I mind blowing a 100K account if it comes to it. So yeah, I would like to essentially scale up and then I would like to design some other strategies because as I've already told you, what I use is a combination of a lot of things and I'd like to find something different. Maybe try some different pairs because every pair um, behaves a bit different, and the money really is in the details with trading.
That's very cool. Well, thank you so much for your time, Tomas. Hopefully, it's been interesting to everyone as much as to me. How can people reach out to you online? You say you share your experience and your strategies on Discord, right?
Yeah, that is exactly right. As I've already as I've already told you, I make music, and I use the artist name Keep essentially everywhere. Since my initials are TP, and that sounded like really dumb in my head, so I just cut it to Keep. But yeah, that is the hat. Yeah, that is exactly right. That's under what you're gonna find me in the Discord or at Keep LMAO on Instagram. Shoot me a DM and sure, let's talk.
So all the best to you, Tomas. Thank you very much, and all the best to our viewers. Have fun trading, and all the best. See you soon.
Yes, see you soon, Tommy.